Welcome to the second episode of the AGORA. I'm joined here with Alcanter of
Ah,
internet fame, and we're going to be speaking about right wing culture and the internet.
yes, sir. The battleground of ideas, where culture breeds and infests the minds of people. People underestimate like the importance of memes, culture, subcultures, niches, and all of these things, because that's truly where ideas are born, where they're propagated, and ideas are demons, and they can possess the minds of men and drive them to kill Charlie Kirk and stuff like that. So, like, bro, it all starts with the memes. But yeah,
I think that's a good point. You know, back in the day, Bowden talked about how the internet would be a great place for the radical right to come back after basically being pushed off all the mainstream platforms. They couldn't interact with the rest of the political world and they weren't really allowed to be seen. But nowadays it's sort of everywhere. You know, there's Save Europe reels on Instagram and TikTok. You see Nick Fuentes clips everywhere you go. It's just
yes, sir.
it's just everywhere you
Yeah,
go. You can't avoid the right wing anymore, even as a
that's right.
normie.
You gotta stare at us. You gotta stare us right in the eye.
Yeah,
I think like one of the things that I guess people don't like me talking about, but it's a little disrespectful, but it's true. Like the reason that far right culture is able to spread very good on the internet is because like loserish men who are like lonely, society has done them dirty, they have difficult problems with women, they're incels, so they go hide in the internet, and then these is where these ideas are born, and it's good and it's also bad though because like you get a lot of like hatred, incel sentiments, and stuff like that, but then on the positive side of thing is like these ideas are getting spread because I mean people on the left they're losers too, but they're losers in like in a very different way than chuds are, and that's probably maybe we can speak about that as well, the chuds, the idea of what a chud is,
yeah,
what it means to be a chud.
we can talk about that.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like a new archetype.
yeah, it's interesting because obviously the Chud started off as a left wing meme that's since been adopted by the right. For those of you who don't know, the Chud began on 4chan as a drawing of a school shooter, I believe, who had right wing views, and it began like this is all you right wings, all you right wingers out there on the political boards of 4chan and everything. But the right sort of adopted it for itself and began to say, "Yeah, I am a chud. We are chuds." You know, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, we're able to make fun of ourselves and stuff like that. But yeah, like we're loser man. Like the whole Nick Fuentes thing. He's in his mom's basement. He's from Chicago. It's like these are not like these are not Chads. Chads don't concern themselves politically. They just live life, slaying girls and stuff like that. It's the chuds. It's the incels who concern themselves with these higher ideals and these grandiose ideas of revolutions and getting that trad wife off of themselves. Like it's like fantasy. It's fantasy, and there's a little bit of a slave morality aspect to the fantasies that us chuds have, where we're living these lives where we see everything around us is horrible. We don't feel connected to our lives anymore. We don't feel like our lives are grounded in anything of importance anymore. There's no culture. Race doesn't matter. Um,
Mm.
I You just feel alienated from your own from this world that you were brought up in, and you go online and you hear this rhetoric of paradise, of beautiful architecture, when girls used to behave themselves, and it's super enticing. So you buy into these ideas, and then the humor is funny because it's edgy. You can't say the N word in the real world, but then here in the internet you can say it and you can be edgy and say things you're not supposed to. It's just beautiful. It's a golden age,
Yeah,
and you should like truly, truly appreciate because it might disappear soon, and it might become the norm. Like one thing that back in like 2020, 2021, there was this culture of like Joe Rogan, like the Joe Rogan
Yeah,
universe. I don't know if you remember, you had people like Lex Friedman, these comedians. That was the whole talk. This was like, or Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro. These were the figures that were like edgy. This is what was new. Come to find out, now in 2025, we look back at them and we look at people like Lex Friedman, who's probably Mossad, um,
yeah,
or all these figures. Like they weren't really for us; they were kind of against us. But in that moment, it felt really special. These people, they had these new ideas, like And Jordan Peterson as well. He just completely betrayed us. Um, I heard he's in the hospital now as well. I don't know what all of that is about. I don't know if you heard about that.
no, I didn't hear about that. The Liberals
He's
finally
like
got to him.
dying. Yeah, he's like dying or something. But yeah, like back in 2020 and COVID, you had like the Joe Rogan people. That was kind of what we were like latching onto for hope. These were
Yeah,
the figures that were giving us like this picture, and then it kind of all collapsed under itself when Trump won. In my opinion, that's when we started noticing like, Trump ain't really it, and these people were chilling for Trump, and like it's not really. And then you get figures like Fuentes now.
yeah,
It's like this new kind of new enlightenment.
yeah. That's an interesting point because I think the Overton window, you call it, definitely has shifted much further to the right since
Yes,
about 2020. Like
a lot.
it was controversial for Joe Rogan to speak to like some run of the mill conservative back in
Yeah.
2020, but now like you've got these big podcast hosting like Nick Fuentes and Thomas Sewell and all that.
Yeah, one thing that Nick Fuentes was talking about Charlie Kirk is that kind of like Nick's rise is kind of, you can't really avoid it.
No.
Like all of Charlie Kirk's fan base, they were all Nick supporters,
Mm.
and it was just a matter of time before Charlie Kirk had to accept like most of my audience is very based, they're very anti-Semitic, and his points will have to change inevitably because of the rising population of anti-Semites in the right. And
Yeah.
like I remember just a year ago, being anti-Semitic was a no-no.
Yeah.
Weirdo, what you talking about? Now it's the norm. Now it's
Yeah.
actually cringy to be an anti-Semite. It's like, the same rhetoric, the Jews control everything. Tell me something I don't know.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, the normies have changed so much in their positions, and it's all due to memes, in my opinion. Memes.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. Going back to what you were talking about before about the Chads and everything and how they don't really care for politics. That might be true. They don't really care in the same way we care. But I think subconsciously they sort of do. This is going to sound really insignificant, but I remember scrolling through Instagram once and I saw this popular girl that I go to school with was liking Save Europe reels. And I never would have suspected that. But and like even other boys that are like pretty popular and all that liking this sort of thing.
You
It's
gotta
actually
wife her up,
crazy.
bro. You should have wifed her up when you had the chance. But yeah, save Europe, and yeah, it's true. Like I've gone to parties, and it's like they all know Fuentes, they know Clavicular, and maybe we can get into like the black pill because the black pill has been so significant in pushing far right ideas. I don't know if you're familiar with the cookie verse,
No, I'm not. I don't think.
Cookie King. So there's this character on TikTok called Cookie King. He was popular a couple months ago. His fame has dwindled, as TikTok celebrities usually do. They come and go pretty quickly. But there was this thing called the Cookie Verse, and it was kind of like a universe of niche TikTok influencers that got their rise doing looks maxing. Clavicular, Cookie King, K Shami, all of these people, and they were being accused and canceled for being an alt-right pipeline. These black pill influencers were being told you're promoting right-wing ideas, and these guys are not intellectual. They don't know what's up. They don't know the philosophies or the ideas of being far right, but they're somehow being accused of being far right. And this is something I spoke about with the warrior philosopher. The black pill is inherently far right. It's inherently far right because of the idea of inequality. that there's ugly people, that if you're
Yeah.
born brown, I don't know if you know the concept of JBW, just be white.
Yeah.
But essentially, if you're born white, you have way better chances of getting laid worldwide. These Asian women will flock to you. Indian women love you. Like JBW is one of the key components of the black pill. It's like being born white is very important, and that's racist. And these black pillars are pushing these ideas. It just comes to show you, like, inside of these subcultures, there's these subconscious ideas that are not inherently said, but are being promoted. Save Europe was one of the early ones. I don't know if you remember gnome hunting.
Yeah, I do. I remember that.
So, like, yeah, like little stuff like that. They're called dog whistles. Remember the history wizard?
Yeah.
This just, yeah, like stuff like that. It's like you see these people on TikTok, and it's just funny. But behind the humor, there's ideas that penetrate you subconsciously and push you more and more right without you even knowing of it. And then you get a character like Nick Fuentes, who I guess he's kind of a populist. He gets these sentiments that are right wing, and he kind of puts a voice to it. He puts like a head to it,
Yeah.
and people love Fuentes because he's funny. Most of these normies, they just like, he's funny, he's edgy. Let's just go along with what he said, what he says. Like when I was a kid, I liked Trump for the exact same reason. I didn't know the talking points. I didn't know anything about politics. I just knew this guy's funny. He's edgy. I'm gonna vote for him when I'm older. That's all I knew. And I think it's the same thing happening with Fuentes, because most of the internet is like 13, 14 year olds. Like there's people in my Discord server, like they're 15. It's like when you're that age, you're controlled by whatever's most edgiest. You don't even have to fully understand it. You just feel it's funny, you feel it's right, you feel it's striking a chord. And 100% that's happening on TikTok. 1000% with the black pill, with Nick Fuentes, gnome hunting, history wizard, all of that stuff.
Yeah, I think that's right. I remember Bowden's speech. He was giving a speech about Punch and Judy, which is like a puppet show. Like you got the little stage and you got the hand puppets, and he was giving a speech about how that's like secretly, right wing. And at the end of the speech, he said that in politics, you don't really speak to people's minds. You speak to their subconscious. You speak to what's underneath the mind. And I think that's exactly what these TikTok videos and Instagram reels are. They're speaking beneath the mind.
Yeah, 100% agree. And like one thing that I was like realizing, because I got into TikTok pretty late, I think maybe like 2021 or something like that. And one thing that I noticed that TikTok did to my psyche, to my mind, it introduced the importance of competence. Because before TikTok, um, I didn't really care about how I was perceived by people. I didn't really care about being competent. But then there's this thing like with TikTok where you see people doing impressive things, or you see people playing cool music, or you see cool edits of things. And edits are extremely important. Edits highlight competence, and competence is very far right. It's like a subconsciously far right stance, in my opinion, because of inequality, right? If you're gonna be unequal, there's gonna be people that are competent, people that
Yeah.
are not competent. So just that element of competence of edits, people being cool on videos, I really never saw that before until TikTok. In my opinion, TikTok is inherently fascist a little bit. But you're right; they speak to something that is like it's not superficial. It's kind of deeper within us, and that's how ideas are truly pushed. I remember last time we were talking, you were talking about like Thomas the Tank Engine, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like stuff like that matters a lot, and like these ideas, they propagate themselves like that.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't think I elaborated on it very well last time we talked about it, but what I was trying to get at with talking about Thomas the Tank Engine was that, it's set in small town England, pretty much, back in the days of the British Empire, where it's majoritively white, it's pretty much entirely white,
White
and
power.
everything runs smoothly. There's order, there's hierarchy, and even like at a very young age, I thought this was fantastic. This is a good way to run a society. Maybe I didn't
Yeah.
realize it at the time, but I don't know. Definitely, I think it put me on the
Hierarchy is
path from here.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Like that's one of the things that's missing in the modern world. Like there is no more hierarchy. I don't know if I spoke about this last time, but like when I went to high school, everyone was equal. There was no popular kids anymore. Nobody bullied each other anymore because these movies they kind of like make bullies seem like the bad guys. All these Disney movies are like bullies are evil. Uh, uh, like the underdog. All these movies are played from the view of the underdog.
yeah.
It's never about like the brutal, competent guy. I don't know if you've seen Karate Kid.
No, I haven't.
Um, so Will Smith's son, he goes to China, learns karate, beats all the kids, and it's like why does this like black guy uh he gets bullied by because he's in China now, and
Yeah,
then he learns to be like why can't the guy who's actually competent be the one who wins? Why is it always the underdog tell? And that underdog tell has fucking penetrated every level of society. Now there's no more bullying in school. There's no more popular kids. Everything's equal. It's so boring. I hate it. I love hierarchy. I love to try to climb it. But I'm
yeah,
getting a call.
yeah. It's definitely a interesting idea. I mean, like, I'd probably also say maybe that hierarchy doesn't really exist anymore, particularly in America, because of the threat of, oh, if you bully someone, they're gonna come to school with a gun. But like, even I can observe from Australia or whatever. Maybe it's because of tall poppy syndrome, but there's no real, there's like a
What is
level
that,
of
by the way?
popular kids and unpopular
What is
kids.
the tall poppy syndrome? I've heard that twice now. What is that?
It's basically like an allegory of, you've got like poppy plants, flowers, and one of them stands higher than the others. So you cut it down so it's all level. So
Oh,
tall
okay, okay,
poppy
okay.
syndrome means if someone like displays themselves to be like above the rest, then
Okay,
they'll
yeah.
kind of be put down for it.
Yeah, they'll be seen as arrogant. Like this guy's doing too much. That's another thing that I hate. I've spoken about this on who does he think he is? Goofy What
Yeah,
is this guy doing? It's all over the TikTok comment sections. And it's like when someone tries to do something impressive, automatically he's shamed. Who does he think he is? He's trying to be like this movie character. Uh, this is such a cliche. Like you can't be competent anymore in this world. You have to be very subtle, and that's like the whole nonchalant thing. Where it's like you have to be nonchalant. You can't show emotion. You can't be doing too much, and it's just like an anti-competence mindset. No one can try to be impressive. There's no hierarchy anymore. It's just the guy who cares less who gets the girls. Well, yeah, tall poppy. I didn't know that's what it was called, but I've been hearing that term a lot. I'm not used to these terminologies, bro.
yeah,
Um,
it's very big in Australia. I think a lot of people, like, as a society, deal with this, but especially in high school, where there's no real hierarchy because anybody who is seen to be doing something different than everyone else is sort of like laughed at. So everyone sort of sticks together and doesn't. No one ever tries to be anything more than the rest.
yeah, it's very like anti-Western. Like that sounds like a China kind of thing where it's all collective. They're all following the same mindset. Her just stick your head down, like what Jonathan Bowden's dad told him. Stick your head down and focus on making money. Don't make anybody mad. And that's very anti-Western. Like the whole beauty of Western culture, in my opinion, is being a little bit like rebellious, being trying new things. So yeah, this is a very bad symptom. But as I said, the West has no saving anymore, in my opinion. Like I'm very black pill when it comes to that. I really don't think that I don't see that much hope, especially once I've been getting into thinkers like Nick Land and kind of like trying to put technology into my philosophies. I just see it as from here it's over,
Well, that's more
it's
so
done.
it's over for all of humanity, isn't it? Just towards
Yeah, it's all
automation, sort of like the Matrix or Wally.
the Matrix One. Yeah, the Matrix One. And I've been trying to figure out like occult kind of philosophies, the esoteric side of thinking. It just is to me anything that is hidden is interesting. Like I just want to know why, how does it work, why do they think, why do the elites think the way that they think? So it's been
Yeah,
something that I've kind of been trying to, put into my mind more. Because whenever there's no evil anymore into the picture, whenever you're like a Nietzschean or whatever, now you have to ask the question, well, why are the satanic elites evil? Like what's wrong with them? And that's kind of a question that I'm trying to like figure out myself. Well, why are these elites bad? What are they doing that is evil? They're destroying the white race. They're doing it. Like I heard, I was watching this one video by a YouTuber called Europos. I don't know if you're familiar with
yeah,
him.
I've heard of him. Yeah,
Well, he was making like an analysis of George Soros, and he was basically saying George Soros' entire philosophy is we need to destroy all of these traditions so that something new can come and replace it. And it's like, it kind of makes sense. It's he's destroying the idea of a family. He's destroying the idea of gender, of what it means to be human, of culture. And I think like if we're transitioning into a transhumanist society, if technology is gonna inevitably overcome what it means to be human, then you need to take these ideas of family, gender, culture, and destroy them. So I think what George Soros is doing is very natural. He's just paving the path for a transhumanist society. Um, so like right now, that's like what I'm grappling with is these ideas,
yeah,
trying to make sense of the elites of this world, or why the Jews evil. And maybe we can get into like low IQ anti-Semitism is a video that I've been wanting to make because there's a rise in low IQ anti-Semitism, and I hate it. I hate normies, bro.
yeah.
I hate them.
We can talk about that. I think yeah, that's
But
a
yeah,
good point because I remember a discussion on Twitter or whatever where like they're all discussing about like, oh, what do we do once we defeat the Jews? What do we do from that point? And they're talking about like why should we have like Myron Gaines from Fresh and Fit, I think it is, saying, oh,
right,
these
yeah.
these stupid whites, they've fallen for the Jewish trick of racial separatism. And I was like, what? How is
Oh my lord.
how is that? You know,
Yeah. I mean, he's Arabic, right? He's very brown,
yeah,
and that's one thing I realize. A lot of like people in the right that are brown kind of have like these. They don't have like that white, like that race thing inside of them.
yeah.
You know what I mean? They have like biases, and people call me race traitor. I'm Mexican or whatever, but I do. Well, first of all, maybe we can get into that too. So like every time I upload video, bro, half my comments are Latinx, 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 or like Mexican Elliot Roger, Mexican Elliot Roger. Like, why are all far right people Mexican?
Yeah.
I really do think, and I'm not. Maybe I'm biased. You know what? Sure, I'm biased, but I really think that Mexicans they're gonna play a big factor in like the next coming years because, and when I mean Mexicans, I mean Mexicans. I don't mean Mexican Americans.
Yeah.
Mexican Americans are just blacks. They're just like a little bit better blacks. True Mexicans that come from Mexico are more white than white people.
Especially
Quote
in
me right
America.
there.
Yeah.
Quote me right there. They're Catholic. They have a big family, importance in the family. They play the accordion, German instrument. It's like Mexicans are very very white. I'll put them in the same category as white than Albanians. That's where I'll put them.
Interesting. But yeah, it is
100%.
interesting that especially in America, a lot of the American right, like Nick Fuentes and these anonymous Twitter profiles, are all Mexicans.
Yeah, we're like the reserve army.
It's a
Um,
weird phenomena.
yeah, it really is. I don't really know because okay, I'm gonna try to put my 2 cents into it. So Mexican culture is very it's kind of very like not intellectual at all. So whenever a Mexican person that has a little bit of intellect comes around, they'll feel alienated very, very quickly. So most Mexicans from where I'm from is just drugs, party, hot Cheetos. It's like there's really no substance to them. There's really nothing. So whenever any like Mexican has a little bit of intellect, he gets alienated and then gets channeled down the far right pipeline. That's my theory of it. That's what I think. Cause if you're white, there's kind of these structures built in place where you can like climb up intellectually speaking. You can go to university. You can go to the church, go to what do you call the church schools,
Yeah,
the what's it called, the
a
the Bible
monastery. Yeah,
schools, kind of like a monastery, but for Protestants.
yeah.
Like there's these systems in place where they can or debate club or like Nick Fuentes, he was in the debate club. But then for all these like Latino Zoomer and people like that, there's just no hope. Like you're just gonna be weird. You're not gonna fit into um into your own culture because of your intellect. Like black people, they're all low IQ, so they don't have this phenomenon. But Mexicans are a little bit higher IQ, so they have a little bit more of these exceptions. These guys that have a little bit of a higher IQ. Um, so that for Mexicans, what I realized, if you have a higher IQ, you're either gonna be gay or far right. There's a lot of gay Mexicans,
Hmm.
a lot, bro. Nick Fuentes himself included, by the way.
Do you believe that
Primarily,
Nick Fuentes is actually gay?
this is okay. I've never met a man. No, I have met men who like he like rejects women. Like he doesn't have that vigor, that lust for women. Not that I've seen. He has opportunities. He's probably had a lot of opportunities to invite a girl over, do something very quickly, but he doesn't do it. So like it kind of begs the question. Like I don't care about the whole Discord thing that they found like furry stuff there, or that he hang out with a femboy. I would hang out with a femboy too as a joke. I find that's funny. But the fact that he doesn't go for girls, even just to mess around, I find it kind of strange. And I know he's a Catholic and he has all these morals that he stands by, but like, bro, I've been surrounded by Christians my whole life. They all do so many mistakes. They all sleep around once or twice. So I don't know. He might be gay. What do you think?
I don't know. I think it's possible he could just be completely asexual because
Asexual?
I think you're right. He probably has had so many opportunities, and there's plenty of like women out there who say, "Oh, he's attractive," especially like even in podcasts he's on. They say, "Oh, why don't you have a girlfriend? You know, you're a very attractive man," and he's like, "No, I'm an incel."
Yeah. He's not. He has lost that title. He doesn't have the honor of having that title anymore.
No.
He obviously gets. I've been on TikTok, bro. There's women lusting for him because they find it like a degenerate kind of kink. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like let this evil Nazi degrade me. So that guy has lost the title of incel. Um, he, I need to meet him.
Yeah.
There's something about shaking a man's hand. You shake a man's hand and you look him in the eye, you can tell if he's gay or not. Like this, in a snap of a second. So if I ever get to meet Nick Fuentes, I'll tell you guys, and I'll try to test him too, because I'm pretty feminine looking myself. So if you try something, I'll let you guys know.
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome. I remember the idea of like confronting an influencer like would be hilarious. I remember seeing Ozpill when he was in America. For those who don't know, Ozpill is an Australian sort of right wing influencer, and he was in America. He debated Charlie Kirk in Miami, I think, a few earlier this year or maybe last year, and he found Jack Doherty in a like a store, and he went up to him and was asking him about Agatha and drinking raw milk and virile and all that sort of thing. It's a very funny
Yeah,
thing to do. It, you don't really get many opportunities to do it. But if I ever met someone famous, I definitely would go up to them and maybe ask about Agartha and Viral.
Yeah, cause like I get these thoughts when I'm sleeping or when I'm falling asleep. I get these thoughts like if I ever meet someone famous, like just be straight up. Like if I met Trump, I'll be like, bro, these I know the Jewish lobbies are like they're on your back, bro. Like just vent for me, bro. Just vent with me. Like fuck these Jews, right? Like they're probably like they probably have some blackmail on you. They're doing stuff. Like just vent with me, bro. Like try to be understanding, and I feel like they'll spill the beans. Like I really wish had opportunities to meet these famous people to try to just get like an understanding or like when instead of confronting them like hey you sold out to the Jews you motherfucker, like why not just be like hey bro I understand like they probably have like they probably have some blackmail on you, they're threatening you with like some kids or something like that, just be more understanding because
That's
I
actually a
truly
good
believe that
point.
everybody works in their best interest. Like I don't believe that these Jews are evil. They just want Judaism to be supremacy. They just want their people to win. It's tribalism, and we're all tribal. White people, when they're saying we don't want the Jews to control us, that's being tribalistic. That's being like I want my people first. Well, the Jews are doing the same thing, and they're more evil about it. They're more honest about it. They're less humanitarian about them. They're like bombing things. But at the end of the day, morality is not real, and these people are just doing what they can to thrive. But I do think that there's people above the Jews that are controlling the Jews for their own agenda. Let's say their more esoteric, mystical agenda. I don't know if you've seen Naruto.
No, I haven't.
So in Naruto, we get introduced to a bad guy, but then we come to find out the bad guy is being controlled by another bad guy. But then at the very end, the bad guy gets betrayed by another bad guy. That's kind of what I think is happening here with the whole Jewish thing. That's
Is
Alcantar's theory on it.
is that why you reckon like it's been slipping so much? Like there's no everyone can be anti-Semitic now and racist and
Yeah, yeah, for
anti-immigration
sure.
and whatever.
The
But
whole slipping thing is on purpose. Like I was watching this video by this Chinese professor. I don't know if he's Professor Yang. I don't
oh
know.
yeah, yeah.
Um, um, it's not Yang, but who cares? He was saying how the Jews are doing this on purpose, how they're purposefully broadcasting their genocide to the world. Because if you truly wanted to genocide somebody without repercussions, you would slip something in the water, maybe some toxins, maybe like who knows, a little cancer, radiation poisoning, and nobody will know. Oh, it was an accident. Nobody's gonna read a headline, these people got poisoned by water sewage. Like, who cares? What we care about is like these people got bombed, they got nuked, and that's what the Jews are doing. They're being purposefully like irritating and purposefully going against a journalist, and they're being like annoying on purpose because they want people to hate them. And this Chinese professor was saying that they're using hatred to unify themselves. Like they're purposefully putting themselves in an all or nothing situation so that the Jews have to come together and fight against the world as a form of unity. Uh, I don't know if you saw that video with the Chinese professor.
I've seen a bit of him talking about different civilizations, and it seems very
Yeah, yeah,
interesting.
exactly.
That's like an interesting idea that they're sort of essentially gearing up for a final battle of the Jews versus the rest of the world, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And they're putting themselves in a bad position for them to unify themselves and be able to fight the world. But then my theory is that um, there's something above the Jews that is using this total war to destroy the Jews too. Because I was reading this paragraph by Albert Pike. It's a famous paragraph where he outlines the first three world wars and how they're going to play out. And in that paragraph, he says that the Jewish people will go in a total war against the Palestinians, and they will both destroy each other, and it will usher in this age of nihilism. Like this total war just left the whole world destroyed, nihilistic, and that's when the Antichrist will be introduced as the savior, this thing that will promise peace again. So I think the Jews are being played by that like the highest members of like Freemasonry, like 33 degree Masons and stuff like that. And I know it sounds conspiratorial, but I truly do believe there's people like that in this world, um, that have that much power and they're that smart and that calculated that they're able to make plans hundreds of years in advance and able to play them out. I see that happening.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I'd more so say that maybe their control isn't actually as strong as it's usually made out to be, because like everyone's like, oh, I can't say anything, otherwise the government's gonna arrest me and take me away and all that. But maybe it's a lot easier to just like embed that in the minds of people rather than actually be able to like just wisp away any dissidents at a moment's notice. If everyone already thinks, oh, I can't do anything, I can't say anything, I'm not even going to bother, then they're not
Right.
going to try. They're not going to talk about these sort of things. They're not going to express these sorts of opinions. So it's
Yeah, like
just
Big Brother's watching.
yeah, it's way more efficient than organizing a secret cabal of feds or whatever to infiltrate every single little right wing group and
Yeah.
goad people into terrorism, even though that definitely does happen.
No, yeah, it happens for sure. But yeah, you're right. And I actually think that sentiment is what kind of makes the idea of being anti-Semitic attractive. Like, oh, I'm saying things I'm not supposed to. I'm being edgy. Oh, they're gonna come get me. Like, I'm sorry, they're gonna come get me. Like that makes being anti-Semitic be attractive, and that's why I think a lot of these teenagers are becoming anti-Semites. It's very attractive. This idea is very funny. It's forbidden, but I don't believe that the Jews have that much control. Uh, I mean, like the whole Trump, the like politics is so confusing. Like Trump, he's right now, he's like no more war,
Yeah,
peace treaty, and Israel is like finally submitting to him. So it's like, are the tides changing, or are the Jews just like, ah, let's take a step back because things are getting too hot? You know, it's kind of hard to read when things are kind of behind cover.
yeah,
But yeah, we should probably go back to culture.
yeah.
You're
Of
getting
course.
into like conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
But what was I saying
we're gonna get
before?
shut down.
We're we're being too edgy. We're gonna get shut down.
The goy no.
Yeah. What were we saying about like the whole TikTok thing? There was something that I wanted to talk about there. I don't know if you remember.
I think you were talking about like um, they were talking about the subconscious element of these TikToks and everything.
Right. Yeah. There was something that I wanted to say, but yeah, I mean, from what I remember, what really kind of made it big was the Save Europe thing. I think that was like 2 years ago or last year. That's when it kind of became popular, and all these subcultures, these sub niches, they're all together, like looks maxing, Save Europe, Gartha edits, Hyperborea edits. It's all the same thing. It's all the same people.
Yeah,
It's all so they all kind of come together. And I've been observing TikTok culture recently, and I do believe that the esoteric side, the Bowden side, Bowden is very popular on TikTok right now. There's not a day that goes by that I don't see a Bowden edit, one of his speeches with nature in the background, or a little bunny eating a carrot with Bowden in the background. The kind of intellectual side is kind of becoming more and more popular because I do think that it's kind of transcending that surface level element of it's just funny, or maybe the funny thing has become so big it has attracted more intellectual minds. But yeah, the intellectual side, the esoteric side, is kind of puncturing in. Ebola, Write the Tiger, like Write the Tiger is such a like a copy paste thing. It's very common use. So I do think that these philosophies and these philosophers, they're kind of getting pushed to the normies now, and soon enough we will see. Um, we'll see like Bowden be held as a sort of Jordan Peterson kind of guy,
that would be
and
based.
maybe that will be very base. Um, and yeah, hopefully my channel grows from that. That's kind of where I've been positioning myself since I started my channel. Is kind of like I talk about a little bit of the intellectual side, but I add a little bit of humor to it, a little
Yeah,
TikTok brain rot element to it, so that it's easier to digest. It's short form because a lot of these ideas they're only pushed through the long form content. You have to watch an hour long video, or you have to watch this, secret Bowden speech that the audio is like fucking recorded with like a potato or something. Like it's very hard to kind of get some of these ideas.
Yeah.
Even buying the books, like it's not just like an Amazon thing. Uh, Sometimes you have to like go on website.
Yeah.
It's like a complex thing. So having like a funny, digestible kind of way of processing the content, it's kind of what I've been trying to do, and hopefully I'm succeeding at it.
Being the culture
Even though
thug.
being a cultured thug, yeah, exactly. Even though I upload once a month, which I apologize for, I try my best to make the videos a very like process like digestible. That's my ideal, being digestible. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Um,
I think the cultured thug, like even if it's not Bowden's idea entirely, has become quite popular online as well. Like with fitness influencers, they're like posing in the gym or whatever, and they're talking about reading about Stoicism and all these ancient philosophies and Christianity. Like, there's so
yeah,
many. You see so many like big bodybuild, like not really bodybuilders, but younger guys making self improvement videos, and they've always got a cross necklace on.
yeah. But I do think they're gonna get bored of that. Like as I said in one of my videos when I did paganism versus Christianity. I think it's like a little bit of a little movement. I don't think that the faith is genuine, genuine, genuine.
No.
And it's not that it's not genuine because it's not genuine faith. Like these people truly believe, like Christ built. But I don't think there's a structure anymore to kind of support that system. So I think a lot of these Christian bodybuilders that have a little cross necklace and they talk about stoicism, they're gonna get bored of that. They're gonna want to find something deeper, something more intense. And I think that's where like the whole Nietzsche and paganism thing kind of plays into it.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, because it's modern philosophy. This is what you're supposed. This is what your people is thinking right now. That's what they'll fall into. And I am seeing a little bit more of that. The more Nietzsche side popping out, more evil maxing, dark triad maxing. Like
Yeah.
yeah, kind of.
That's a good point. I
But
think like a lot of this online stuff with Christianity and all that, like Tradwest, all these orthodox edits and everything. I don't know if it really comes from a place of genuine belief that Jesus Christ is God, died on the cross for man's sins, and was resurrected 3 days later. But it's more so just the aesthetic of it. And Christian aesthetics, Catholic and Orthodox aesthetics are very beautiful. They're very appealing, and that's
yeah,
probably what people latch onto. But it's like
for
you
sure.
see all these like Orthodox people on the internet, and they probably didn't even know what Orthodoxy was 2 months ago, and now they're like
Yeah,
devout monks or
yeah, right. And they're
less
liking like
devout monks. Yeah,
Saint Paisios edits and just they're they buy a little icon of like their favorite saint or like the most base saint
yeah,
or something like that. Yeah, I get you. I don't think I like it's genuine, but it's not genuine. As I said, like there's not a structure in place. Like maybe if we lived 200 years ago, these people would remain Christians, but we're at a time where there's like pagan energy in the air. There's kind of like that. There's a more enticing force pushing at you, and like being Christian, like as soon as I stopped becoming Christian, I became open to like these atheist ideas or this other form of energy, and it just became easier to navigate the modern world without having that Christianity restraining me, and kind of like developing my own meaning. But back to the Christian thing, these Christian, I do believe that most people when they follow philosophies, they're doing it based on aesthetics purely.
yeah,
It's something this guy Connor O'Brien said. Uh, he was like, you already know what philosophy you're gonna follow before you follow it. It's kind of like you kind of have like this magnet pushing you, propelling you towards a certain philosophy because you find it aesthetic, you find it to be pleasing. Like these liberals, they're more sensitive types. They like that victim mentality. Something in their life told them if you play victim, you win. This is how you should cope with life, playing the victim card. So their philosophies in life are gonna reflect that. Play the victim. And then other people like us, maybe when we grew up, we had like a different mindset to life. We watched a certain movie, and it invoked a certain figure, a certain archetype. And then when we look into far right philosophies, we find that to be more compelling, more more true to our nature. Um, so yeah, I do think that, why we follow these philosophies, why we become far right, is purely based on aesthetics. And then the justification comes afterwards, because all these normies, even people like me and you, we're not smart enough to derive these philosophies from first principles or from um, Nietzsche. I mean, he's a genius. Like, when would I be able to, you know create these ideas by myself? I follow Nietzsche because something in his words, something in his poetry is me. Is what I've seen from nature, is what I observed from the world. It just strikes a chord with me. So that's a lot of happening. But I do think, as Bowden says, we are superior aesthetically. I do think that most of America will find the right wing version of life to be more compelling than whatever victim mindset, LGBTQ. Who resonates with that? Who,
Yeah,
like, I don't think I've met a man, a true man, not a gay guy, who doesn't resonate more with far right thinking than liberal thinking. Like, have you seen those pamphlets that they pass around with the corporate art and the little gay flag?
yeah,
Like, who resonates with that? Everybody likes Sylvester Stallone movies, Competence, Star
Gladiator.
Wars, like that. That's what we like. So I do think that we're superior aesthetically, and you see it with the TikTok edits. I I might be biased when I say this, but I do believe that. I said maybe I'm biased, maybe I don't know enough, but the songs that are popular, they start off being popular because they were in a far right edit, and then they get pushed into the mainstream. I think so. So we're superior culturally, and it's just a matter of time when we overtake. Like Nick Fuentes, he's funny, he's edgy, everybody loves him. Even people on the left love him because he's so funny. We're superior humorly, we're superior aesthetically, we resonate with people's minds more. I do think that we win in the long term, but said then we lose. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
That's
But
that's interesting. I think Bowden also talks about that as well. He says that with a lot of these like right wing archetypes, that usually speaking, they'll like in movies or whatever, they'll have them fight someone. The bad guy will be another person who's a right wing, like a Clint Eastwood movie, like a classic Clint Eastwood movie, like a western or where a World War II drama. Like he's already supposed to be like a right wing existentialist type of character, and his enemies are always going to be someone who's more to the right, like a very authoritarian cowboy or a
yeah,
sheriff or a grinning evil genocidal Nazi doctor or something like that.
right, yeah, that is true. That is true. Because like the normal mode of man is just far right. I mean, right wing. Always, like, for all of history, it's always just been right wing. Whatever, like, the ideas of right wing, like the liberal stuff. It's not masculine. It's not inherent to our nature. It's a perversion. It never been seen before in history. Like, the more I've dove into the far right, it's not even about issues about homosexuality. The Greeks, they say they were homosexuals, right? Those guys were based. Um, Abortion. The fucking Spartans, they were doing abortion. They were throwing babies off cliffs. Like, it's not about any of that. It's just about inequality and things like that.
Yeah,
But those issues do matter. Not to say that they
yeah,
don't
of
matter.
course.
But like, being far right is less about those things and more about inequality. Always competence, um, the hierarchy, stuff like that. Even traditionalism. You don't have to be traditional to be far right. Like, you see
No.
with the futurists, those guys are not traditional at all, but they're the most right wing people that you'll ever meet.
Yeah,
It's confusing, and that's why it was kind of hard to map out the whole the people in the political compass that I was trying to make. And the word philosopher, just, you said, like, no, you can't, we can't, it's not possible.
yeah.
But yeah, should we talk about women?
We can talk about women. I think. I think that men and women are obviously different, and women by nature are more geared towards the left than what men are. And I think a lot of the time, left wing men sort of they're like that because they want to get some. They want to be a ladies' man. They want to
Get what? What do you mean? Get what?
they want to get invited. They want to be in the bedroom. They want to sleep around. They want to have a lot of sex. They want to
Wait,
like yeah. They want to like
SEX?
yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's true. A lot of like the weak men, as I said, like I love looking at the world through like a will to power kind of lens. And you see the weak men, they can't get pussy. Like they just can't. They have to use subversive methods to get in the bedroom. And they do it unconsciously, right? They just think, oh, that made my woman upset. Let me just not say that. Let me follow the opposite ideology. And that's something that I admire from the chuds and from the incels a lot. Like a lot that these guys they don't care about pussy. Like they're like, I know what I have to say to get laid. I know what kind of man I have to become, but I'm not gonna become that man. I'm not gonna have fluffy hair. I'm not gonna paint my nails. I'm not gonna wear an earring on one ear because the girls like that. I'm not gonna be posting pictures of myself with a little doggy filter. Like, no, I'm just gonna be an incel chud. This is what it is. This is my life. I don't care if I don't reproduce. I'm not gonna bend my ideals for some pussy, bro. Like, I admire that greatly, greatly. Instead of these other men who are just, bend their backs, do anything for women, change their entire style and appearance and what kind of culture they like, just to get some pussy, bro. Fuck pussy. It's not that good, bro. Like, it's really not worth throwing your life away, throwing your society away for some cheeks.
No.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I
Yeah.
admire it. But there's fake incels though.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fake incels on the right. They say they're incels, but they're incels not because they chose to be incels, because they were forced to be incels. And as soon as they get an opportunity to get some pussy, bro, they change up on their far right brothers. And I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. So don't be those kind of incels. Don't be a fake cell. Be a true cell.
Yeah.
Stay true to
Be
the movement.
be a true cell patriot.
Exactly. So yeah, um, I myself like I have a girl, but in my heart, I'm an incel. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's not a contradict. It's not a contradiction. It's not a paradox. It's true. I'm an incel at heart. Even these fake cell allegations is not true. In my heart, I'm an incel because I will not bend. I will not bend.
Maybe that's the answer to the Nick Fuentes question. Maybe he really is
You
just
think
truly an incel at heart.
maybe yeah? Because bro, you kind of built this resentment inside of you that you cannot get out of your heart anymore. You can't get out of your system. You see enough of this world. You see enough degeneracy. You see enough of these sluts and the way black people act. There's just no going back anymore. You can't look at the world through, oh, it's okay. Some women are nice. Not all women behave like this. You cannot reach a level of black pill where there's no return. Or even if you have a girl, even if you can get a girl, you just don't want to. You're so black pilled. And maybe that's the position that Nick Fuentes is in. He's just like, I've seen how these women act. I've seen that they're the key to the destruction of Western civilization, and I am not accepting them. I will not give them my seed. I will not give them resources or money. Um, maybe he's in that position. Um, I'm not in that. I'm not that black pilled yet. I
No.
have hope when it comes to women, and I know you yourself. Maybe you don't want this to be publicly disclosed, but you know, I don't think that you're fully black pilled
No, I'm not black pilled at all.
when it comes to women.
No, not even when it comes to women. I'm not black pilled. I'm not black pilled on the West. I'm not black pilled on women. I'm not. I'm a very people who actually know me in real life think I'm a very negative person, but in reality, I'm pretty white pilled about the way things are going. I don't like.
Nice.
I know there's problems out in the world, but here it's gonna be summer soon. It's gonna be good weather. It's gonna be Christmas time. Things are, despite everything, things are gonna be all right, and more people are thinking in this sort of way that we are now, and these sorts of movements are growing. Like Restore Britain in the UK, they're like massive. They're pushing for mass deportations and all that. And they're getting huge popular support in Britain, nonetheless. Where liking an offensive tweet or Facebook post can actually get you like years in jail. So I think there is hope.
Yeah, I do see the right wing movement winning in the short term, as I said, because I see the tides in culture changing. People like Nick Fuentes are growing exponentially. I've seen it with my own channel. Some videos are getting views like months after they were posted. Like I see the sentiment and the whole TikTok thing. But I do think long term though, there is no going back because the claws of liberalism, the claws of the elites, they're too in the system. They're too rooted. They're way too rooted to be completely outlifted. Things like Palantir, like how are you gonna get rid of that? Even like there's like a shadow government kind of thing, and I don't see us removing it because like for the right wing to win or for right wing things to win, it's so easy. Like one small thing could change it. Like for example, if women didn't vote, automatically, automatically the next day, everything will be fixed. Everything will be fixed that quickly by such a small change like that, by not allowing women to vote. So winning is very easy, but long term winning is where I'm kind of hopeless, mainly because of technology. Technology is like this is one driving force that it's like a parasite. It won't stop growing and it will ultimately replace us. So I mean, if you're traditionalist, that's bad. But if you're a futurist, maybe that's good. But that's the way I kind of see things.
I think the thing to
So
that would be we don't really know whether this technology will survive what's going to come. How do we know that these sorts of like these sort of like new age things are going to be able to survive the collapse? Because there's going to be a collapse. Even though I just said I'm white pilled, but there's gonna be a collapse. There's gonna be a storm that happens, and it'll be interesting to see who and what survives that.
right, yeah, Charlie Kirk gonna get killed 500 times. This was coming, kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, like next election, I think like Nick Fuentes said, like in the next election, the Democrats win, like he's out of the country, kind of thing, as they probably have some built-in resentment, the Democrats, for
Oh yeah,
how they've been treated recently. So I mean, if they ever get into power again, you're gonna see that resentment claw into conservatism, um, immigration, abortion. You're just gonna see them, go crazy. And then if JD Vance wins, Nick Fuentes also says that's bad too, because now you see Peter Thiel, the Israel lobby, continue. Like it's just bad in both sides when it comes to America. Whoever wins, it doesn't matter who wins. It's bad. The only hope that you can kind of think is that the dissident right and the alt right grows in these next 4 8 years till we can get someone that's actually based into power. And that's when I really hope that this culture doesn't just die down, because you can only be edgy for so long, until it stops being fun to point at Jews. And you actually need to get this sentiment, this culture, this mimetic energy, and channel it into action. And that's something that I don't see. That's something that saddens me a lot. Where it's like we all know that 9/11 was an inside job. This is common knowledge, but we're not going to do anything about it. And next year, when they have a 9/11 memorial, we're going to go, and in everyone's heads, we're going to know that this was an inside job. The Jews did this, but we're all going to stay silent and just put our hands in our hearts and sing the Pledge of Allegiance, even though we know this whole system is bullshit. And we're going to keep doing this for years, and there's not going to be no action. And That's why I'm black pilled, because I I just don't know, and that's why I was talking on Discord a little bit about playing the Joker card a little bit, being like an agent of chaos, accelerating it. I was saying like if Nick Fuentes were to be assassinated, then you would see action happening ASAP. You would see people in the dissident right take action, grab their guns, go storm the Capitol again, and try to take some actual power.
Yeah.
Then
I
the
think that
liberals will
might.
ultimately win.
I think that might happen if Trump tries to stay on for a third term. I think there might be unrest in America. Might result in a war. It could. I don't know if he will, but if he does, then that would be. If anyone's gonna do it, it's gonna be him.
Yeah. So I see chaos as the only solution here. The only solution to getting but then yeah, then a lot of more elements play into play, like if there's chaos, how fast can we seize it, because they have more utility. They have like Palantir surveillance systems, they have the military, like it just introduces a lot of questions. But you know what I mean, I think chaos is the best option, but it's the most violent option.
Yeah, but obviously it's not gonna succeed if we just stay in our rooms and oh, things are bad, blah 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 blah. If it's gonna be chaos, you're gonna need people that you can stick with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's I think that's hopefully what we're doing here. uh, my Discord buddies, we're all gonna get together and we're gonna storm the Capitol, kind of thing.
Oh, that's not going on YouTube.
But yeah, I am black pilled, uh, but it's gonna be an interesting couple of years for sure. I know that, like, 2026, I mean 2028, right? The next election,
Yeah,
it will be an interesting years. A lot of things will be happening then. But like the second Trump won, I posted, like, I think on my Discord, I was like, yeah, like it's gonna be kind of like dead. Like there's not gonna be, because before Trump won, there was like an element like of hope inside of our hearts, where it's like there might be civil war, there might be a big change. Um, but then when he won, it's like no big change. He won. It's you know Now it's just gonna clean playing, no chaos, no big change. And then you just see how he's kind of betraying what he said he was gonna do, and how he's bought by Israel. So it's just such a letdown where he had all this hype. He almost got killed. He should have gotten killed. That would have started a big revolution, and he would have gotten martyred. He would have gotten martyred so good. People would be he would be written in the history books forever. And the thing with Trump that a lot of people say is he's kind of like a mythical figure, where it's like we don't know what he thinks. We don't know how, we don't know. We can't put him in a box. He's ambiguous. I always speak about that. He's ambiguous. He can be anything. So if a guy like that dies, since he's so ambiguous, we don't know what flag, he kind of what kind of flag he was holding. So like a revolution can start under, whatever energy is the strongest. Are you following? You get what I'm trying to say?
yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah. So it's like if Trump would have gotten killed, I really think that America would have been transformed, for the good. Like that energy would have just boom exploded, and it would have been really good. But now we're in this position where nothing ever happens.
well, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna end it on a positive note that there's a
No,
Bowden
no, no, more
speech.
negative, more negativity.
There's a Bowden speech
Nah,
about vanguardism where he talks about how if there's any hope, it lies within a small, well, relatively small set of people, of elites, counter elites, really, where even if it seems hopeless, because there's been situations in the past that have been even more negative than the ones we're in now, but these groups have always managed to come back from it. In Russia, it was never considered that this group of Bolsheviks that barely that could fit into a pub or into a pub in London around one table. Whoever would have thought they would have led this a revolution that changed the world forever.
That's true. That is true. You just gave me hope again. Yeah, you got to be some very, very competent man, like a group of individuals sitting around that table to pull it off. But it's possible, for sure. So I mean, it's not completely black pilled. You know, I take back my statement, but it's looking pretty dim. Um, you ever seen what is that show? The detective show, uh, True Detective.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
So like at the end of the episode, they look at the stars, and it's like it's dark out there. There's very little light. You know, but then the guy says, "Well, in the beginning of time, there was no stars. Now there is. Now there is light. So we're winning. The tides are shifting, and I do think something like that is happening in the right, where it's like, guys, before there was no stars, there was no characters like Nick Fuentes. There was no such thing as there was like being an anti-Semite was so niche. As I said, even a year ago it was niche, and now it's like a very common thing. So the tides are changing. We'll have to see how strong the momentum of the pendulum is towards change, and if that pendulum can harvest enough energy to make some long-lasting change that could actually penetrate government, culture, long-term thinking.
Yeah.
But it's not hopeless, and just you having these ideas in your brain, I think that does something very small, but it does something.
Yeah. So the ultimate
I think
message is you got to go to the pub and you got to
yeah,
organize a revolution.
there's no more pubs. It's like there's like whores dancing around and
Well, there's pubs here. I don't know if they're really a thing in America, but there's pubs here and there's pubs in Europe and everything. But
go to Starbucks.
yeah, organize a
There,
revolution in Starbucks.
Starbucks. Exactly. With your homies. But yeah, it was a nice conversation. I really
Nice to
enjoyed it.
meet.
Uh, very, I think it flowed pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, thank you guys for watching.
Enjoyed it.
Subscribe to Alcanter. Uh, and yeah, you should upload more for sure, bro, because you have potential. I see it.
Yeah, I've got a few videos planned just about editing them.
Yeah, bro. You have like some like it's all about the title and the thumbnail, and I think that's where you nail it because some of your like they're just interesting videos. Other videos like let's say Keith Woods, they'll be like futurist accelerationist, neo-positionist. That'll be the title of the video, and yours will be like Kanye West is gay or something. I don't know, like stuff like that. Like that's actually interesting. That's kind of what we need more. We need like this. We need less of this hyper intellectualism,
Yeah.
and more of like that humor, culture. That's what's missing.
Yeah. All right. I think that'll do it. Thank you all for listening. Please like and subscribe to
Ah.
our guests. And yeah, we'll catch you next time.